big data store பண்றது first, right? So in order to store a vast amount of data, then store பண்ணிட்டு அப்புறம் என்ன பண்றாரு? What is the next step?
Backup
distributed நடக்கும். Storage நடக்கும் போது distributed. Organize பண்ண pre-processing stage முன்னாடி we have to organize into a structured format. Structured மாத்திட்டு next parallel processing மூலமா then we are going to transmit the data using எதை வச்சு ப்ராசஸ் பண்ணுவோம்? நேத்து கூட கேட்டேன், மகேஷ் கேட்டாங்க क्वेश्चन. Map reduce, right? So map reduce is going to process the data. Store பண்றதுக்கு we are going for HDFS. For processing we are going for what? Map reduce, right? So in that we are going to see the structure of that storage layer. நூதன் இதை படிப்பா ரெண்டு லைன் படி.
Data storage, which stores huge volumes of data and data processing layer, which processes data and with parallel to extract richer and meaningful insights from data.
Right? So it is going to be divided into storage days. We are going to store the Hadoop process first. So the storage and then next step we have to go for the processing, right? So in that it will be divided into many types of layers so that we can store a huge amount of data in order to process, right? So this will be going for data processing layer. On the processing we will be using parallel or serial processing, right? So that first wide level of architecture. So high level of architecture of Hadoop will be going to use a master-slave architecture. What is master-slave? Master-slave master-na different slave is
one master.
One master, a number of slaves can be there, right? So other than you get. So the same it will be divided into master-slave, right? So one main server will be there like that. Master will be there. So in that many nodes can be connected. Okay. So the master-slave is going to be master name. Master nodes nothing but a name node. You have to know this. Now JPS code check பண்ணும்போது 4 types of nodes வருதா? One of that is what? Name node. So name node is nothing but the master node. Slave node is nothing but the data node. Okay. So the 4 nodes. One is the data node and the other is name node. So name node is nothing but the master node. So next is the slave node, which is nothing but data node, right? So this is how it will be divided. Storage பண்ணுவோம், அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் processing. So first we have to initially what we have to do? We have to store the data. Then only it goes for a processing. If any new data or any new set of data introduced, again we have to store it, again we have to process. So it is a what? Life cycle, right? So this is how the master slave will be. Master and slave applications. Real-time application is nothing but the use case, right? So Hadoop processor, one of our use case is nothing but quick-stream data. What is quick-stream? Quick-stream so that whatever the options we are clicking, what are the test options we are doing, all that will be gathered as a data. So you click on the data menu or data calculated. Okay. So for example, you have a shopping or image click on data, it will be knowing what type of pattern it is going to follow. So you will not interest in it. The person who is using it will be found out with a pattern. So what is he or she interest in? It will be recommending the same set of items again, right? So that we by using the quick-stream, right? So you are just clicking and seeing, right? So at the end of one data it will be finding some pattern from it. So when I recommendation on the pattern related right? So that is one of our quick-stream data. Here the quick-stream data is nothing but mouse clicks. System now mouse phone means touch, right? So it will be right? Quick-stream data analysis. So we know what is quick-stream, right? So other than the data வாங்குறது எப்படி analyze பண்றான்றது அந்த three boxes will be indicating. So what it is? It joins quick-stream data with CRM and sales data. What is CRM? Customer relationship management, right? So it is related with the sales vector. So the customer or data எல்லாமே என்ன பண்ணும்? It will be collecting all the quick-stream data using the CRM and the sales data. Sales data na for that day what that product how much has been sold, இல்ல எவ்வளவு வாங்கிருக்காங்க, எவ்வளவு profit வந்திருக்கு, எவ்வளவு loss. So all those data will be combined in the first step. So அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க? It stores years of data without much incremental cost. So if share market என்ன பண்றோம்? Previous year data வச்சு தான் we are finding the today's share market progress, right? So அதே மாதிரி தான் sales-லயும் they will be taking all the before. இதுக்கு முன்னாடி அந்த ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு இன்க்ரிமெண்ட் ஆகாம முன்னாடி என்னெல்லாம் நடந்துருக்கு அந்த இயர் ஆஃப் டேட்டாவை எடுத்து அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவோம். So the current scenario and the past scenario will be analyzed so that we can find the analysis data using hive and pick. Hive and pick will be the 4 unit items. So அதை நம்ம செப்பரேட்டாக பார்ப்போம். It will be analysis process பண்ணும். சரியா? So using that only it will be analyze the quick-stream data. Okay. So until that it's clear, right? Shall we go for HDFS? So HDFS is number. Hadoop distributed file system. So why we are going for that? Big data storage. For the storage purpose, we are going for HDFS, which is going to store component of Hadoop. Components of Hadoop is nothing but name node, master node, எல்லாமே இருக்கு. So all those will be stored along with the data of the input. Distributed file system will be there. அதுதான் நம்ம என்ன யூஸ் பண்றோம் இங்க. ஒரு Google Chrome போய்ட்டு ஒரு local host கொடுக்கறியா? That is nothing but distributed file system where the files will be stored. Input will store ஆகும், output will also be stored in that only. So it will be taking the distributed file system and be modeled after Google file system, right? So it can also be Google files also can be stored like a cloud storage. So it can also store as Google file system. Right? So optimize for high throughput. High throughput na what is throughput? Throughput. This is your principal latency throughput and what it is. Statement the body about the CFS leverages large block size and moves computation where data is stored. What it means? So HDFS is we are going to store the data only, but if in case overflow addition what is going to be done? Overflow addition it has to be distributed to some other computer, right? So அந்த throughput பார்ப்போம். அதோட storage capacity அதெல்லாம் பண்ண முடியுமா முடியாதா? So that speed along with that storage capacity will be checked. So along with that it will be finding the high throughput. High throughput na it should store as much as data it can keep. So அதுக்கு மேல போச்சுனா it has to be distributed to some other systems, right? So that is also done by the HDFS and then it can replicate. Yesterday we saw, right? backup storage and for the security purpose, right? So that is also done by the HDFS. The 5 points note பண்ணிக்கோ. Right? Listen. So replication we know that is making a duplicate copy, right? Re-replication, data blocks automatically on nodes that have failed. What is re-replication? Replication na தெரியும். Doubt I last row. Replication na we know that is making a copy of it, making a duplicate, right? Re-replication, what is re-replication? Making a second copy of that duplicate. Yeah, the second copy போறோம். Because it has been failed, right? So fail ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படினா it will automatically re-replicate the same copy as the second storage, right? So you can realize the power of HDFS when you perform read or write on large files. So obviously we know it is going to access the large set of file which will be read, which will be write, what are the access it is provided that can be done by the HDFS, right? value. இங்க p value என்னது? p என்னது value என்னது? rack id is p. value என்னது? அந்த rack என்ன பண்றீங்க? blocks குள்ள என்ன இருக்கு? data. So data is nothing but a value. So key is nothing but the rack id. Value is nothing but the data, right? So it is going to map that block of data into that file location. So on the process name என்னது? fs image. சரியா? fs image note பண்ணிக்கோங்க. ஃபுல்லாவே important. You have to write all the things. So fs image is nothing but mapping of block data with that rack id. So அந்த file ஓட number வச்சு we are going to map it, right? So it uses a edit log. Edit log na அங்கேயே கொடுத்திருக்கு bracket what it has mentioned. Transaction log. So log file நான் சொன்னேன் initially. What is log file? Transaction transaction log file what are the data related to that particular block of storage. The data what is size and when it has been created, when it is going to be edited. So who is the authority of it? Illame and access rights and all the things will be maintained by the log file, that is nothing but edit log transaction log, which is going to record every transaction that happens to the file system metadata. What is metadata?
Memory. Hadoop file system oda memory.
Memory. Data is group run with the metadata. Group of data collection is nothing but a metadata which is going to be stored inside the HDFS, right? So you have to know FS image na enter you have to know and then the edit log. So this both is going to be done from the disk and applied all the transaction from edit log in memory representation of the FS image. FS image na the block or storage or data rack is integrate பண்ணும்போது. So along with that it is going to find the edit log. Which rack, which data, which size, when it has been created, everything will be noted by the carbon log.
Name node.
Name node, right? So name node will be doing all these things. Clear? So in the note பண்ணிக்கிறீங்க. Single name node per cluster. Name node